Throughout the European continent, remnants of Nazi Germany's military infrastructure emerge like specters from history's archives, clandestine underground fortifications that bear witness to the Third Reich's massive wartime operations. Remarkably, numerous concrete strongholds managed to stay concealed from public knowledge for many decades following Hitler's defeat. These structures represent ingeniously disguised and occasionally pristine installations, with some buried far beneath the Earth's surface, others consumed by woodland growth or concealed within mountainous terrain, and several even positioned underneath contemporary urban centers. Get ready to explore a realm of mysteries and revelations as we examine 15 recently uncovered Nazi underground facilities. The discoveries made within these structures will genuinely astonish you. Before proceeding further, please show your appreciation by liking this content and following our channel. Your engagement means everything to us. Number 15, the Mimoyekes Fortress. Along France's northern coastline, overlooking the English Channel, stands the Mimoyek Fortress, among the Third Reich's most daring and elaborate weapons initiatives. This massive subterranean installation, designated by the code name Construction Project 7111, was engineered to accommodate the London Gun, a heavy-caliber multi-barrel V3 artillery piece designed to obliterate Britain's capital from existence. The initial blueprint required 50 such weapons, which would bombard London with approximately 3,000 projectiles daily. Subsequently, planners modified the scheme to include 25 cannons firing 600 rounds hourly. Development of this classified installation commenced in September 1943, with the site carefully selected for strategic advantages. Its 8-kilometer distance from the ocean provided protection against British naval bombardment. Nearby railway connections ensured material supply lines, and the solid chalk geological formation offered excellent foundation support for extensive underground construction. The facility featured 2 railroad passages, each measuring 6.5 meters in diameter, positioned 30 meters below ground level. Above these tunnels, 5 enormous angled chambers were constructed at 50-degree inclines, designed to house gun barrels exceeding 5,000 meters in length. Construction involved more than 5,000 German engineers, experienced miners from the Ruhr Valley, and Soviet prisoners reduced to slave labor, working under inhuman conditions for 12-hour shifts daily. Allied intelligence initially failed to identify Mimoyeke's true function, mistakenly categorizing it as a V-2 rocket launch facility. However, between November 1943 and August 1944, over 4,100 tons of explosives were dropped on the installation. The definitive assault occurred on July 6, 1944, executed by the renowned 617 Squadron of Britain's Royal Air Force, famously known as the Dam Busters. These pilots deployed 16 super-heavy seismic tallboy bombs, each weighing approximately 5.4 tons. The penetrating explosives detonated deep underground, causing catastrophic tunnel collapses and subsequent flooding. British forces captured the abandoned and damaged fortress on September 5, 1944, encountering no resistance. In May 1945, following the war's conclusion, Winston Churchill personally ordered the site's complete destruction, considering it one of the most dangerous potential threats. The fortress remnants were finally demolished using 36 tons of explosives. Today, the partially preserved Mimoyekes complex operates as a museum, featuring memorials honoring the Allied aviators who perished there, and the thousands of forced laborers whose lives were lost during construction. Number 14, the Mazy Battery. Near Normandy's beaches, where Allied forces launched their historic invasion, lies one of Nazi Germany's most significant fortifications, rediscovered only recently. The Mazy Battery remained buried underground and forgotten for over 60 years, until British historian and enthusiast Gary Stern made his remarkable discovery in 2004. The revelation began with a chance finding in an American veteran's uniform pocket, a hand-drawn map indicating a heavily fortified area near Grand Camp. This led to the discovery of bunker entrances concealed beneath thick vegetation. Stern purchased a 44-hectare plot from 27 different property owners. Excavations beginning in September 2005 revealed an extensive complex that had mysteriously vanished from all official historical records. Additional investigations conducted in 2008 uncovered more bunkers untouched since 1945. Inside, researchers found German helmets, gas masks, ammunition, and evidence of intense firefights. LiDAR technology revealed scorch marks on ceilings indicating combat during the facility's capture. The battery comprised two main positions: WN-83 Le Peroux with six 150mm French howitzers, and WN-84 Le Maréchal with four 105mm guns, totaling 14 heavy artillery pieces, including 150mm howitzers capable of shelling Utah and Omaha beaches. This installation essentially functioned as an underground city with over 3 kilometers of connecting trenches, linking personnel bunkers, an air defense radar control center, ammunition depot, hospital, and officers' quarters. Strategically positioned below ground level on a gentle slope, the battery remained virtually invisible to Allied reconnaissance. Surprisingly, despite heavy pre-invasion bombardment, the Maisie battery continued operating on D-Day and maintained fire on Utah and Omaha beaches for 3 days after the landings began. This occurred because Allied intelligence focused on the better-known Pointe du Hoc battery, while Maisie remained completely secret until June 9, 1944, when American Rangers assaulted the position. Following a 5-hour battle costing 18 American lives, the battery was captured. Rangers discovered over 180 tons of ammunition, sufficient for 1 week of continuous bombardment. Number 13. Denmark's secret Nazi bunkers. Denmark's coastline contains some of Europe's most extensive fortifications, with approximately 7,000 bunkers constructed along its western shores as part of Hitler's Atlantic Wall. These massive concrete structures, built between 1940 and 1945, represented Danish history's largest construction project, with estimated costs of 300 to 400 billion kroner in 2008 currency. In 2008, powerful storms along Denmark's Havik Beach led to an unexpected historical discovery when waves washed away sand dunes, exposing 4 completely furnished German bunkers, untouched since 1945. Local historian and enthusiast Tommy Kaiser was among the first to investigate these time capsules after 2 9-year-old boys discovered them. Inside, archaeologists found an astonishing collection of personal items: smoking pipes, unopened schnapps bottles, military uniforms, Hitler stamps, medical supplies, and communications equipment. Danish bunker expert Bent Antonsen called the find unique in Europe, with one archaeologist comparing it to entering a pyramid containing mummies. Preservation work immediately began, with artifacts transferred to the Uillio Museum, as deterioration started within days of exposure. Beyond these discoveries, Denmark has converted other bunkers into museums. The Bunker Museum at Tiburon in Blovand, part of the Atlantic Wall, became the Blovand Bunker Museum, operational since 2017, attracting up to 100,000 annual visitors. Fort Bangsbo Battery in Frederikshavn displays original German 150mm naval guns, while the Bunker Museum in Hirtshals offers tours of 54 excavated bunkers connected by 3.5 kilometers of trenches. Danish reactions to these discoveries proved controversial. Some, like Ulia Becker, whose grandfather was a resistance member, compared the discovery to Tutankhamun's tomb, considering preservation a tribute to historical truth. Others expressed outrage. Local resident Mogens Koch Hansen wrote that everything should be destroyed. The Danish Gazette editorial board supported preservation, stating these structures represent part of our common European history. According to museum curator Kim Clausen, while the finds aren't from the Bronze Age, they're incredibly authentic and reveal much about bunker life. Today, these controversial structures have become popular tourist attractions. Number 12. The Wolf's Lair. Hidden within Poland's remote Masurian forests, the Wolf's Lair, Wolfschanze, served as Hitler's primary headquarters on the Eastern Front. This concrete fortress became one of the Third Reich's most secret and strategically crucial military installations. Near the town of Kansun, the complex spans 250 hectares of dense woodland, chosen for its remoteness and natural camouflage. Construction began in 1940, encompassing 200 buildings including bunkers, barracks, and auxiliary structures. Hitler spent over 800 days here directing Eastern Front military operations, with bunker walls reaching 8 meters thick for protection against bombardment. On July 20, 1944, the Wolf's Lair became the location of history's most notorious assassination attempt against Hitler. Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg positioned a briefcase containing explosives beneath the conference table during a staff meeting. The blast killed 4 individuals, but Hitler survived with only minor wounds because the briefcase was accidentally repositioned behind a massive table leg. The unsuccessful Operation Valkyrie triggered brutal retaliation. The Gestapo apprehended over 7,000 suspects, with approximately 5,000 executed. Stauffenberg himself was shot in Berlin just hours following the failed plot. In 2015, construction workers near the Wolf's Lair uncovered human remains identified as belonging to a concentration camp prisoner, likely one of the forced laborers who constructed or maintained the fortification. Today, the Wolf's Lair ruins attract nearly 300,000 annual visitors, offering insight into the nerve center of Nazi Eastern Front operations. Number 11. Elbe 2 Submarine Bunker. Situated in Hamburg's Vulcan Harbor on the Elbe River's southern bank, Elbe 2 represents one of World War II's most fascinating submarine installations. Constructed in 1941 using 50,000 cubic meters of concrete, it was designed to shelter Germany's advanced submarine fleet. On November 11, 1945, 6 months after Germany's surrender, British engineers executed a controlled demolition of Elbe 2 using 32 tons of explosives. The powerful blast collapsed the central wall and ceiling, effectively entombing the submarines inside and creating a time capsule of German naval technology. The structure proved so resilient that 2001 demolition attempts using 150 kilograms of dynamite caused minimal damage. The submarines remained largely forgotten until 1985, when researchers Jakob Malmann-Scholle, Wolfgang Hirschfeld, and Walter Clouds rediscovered them. Their expedition produced unique photographs documenting the submarine's condition after 40 years submerged. The site subsequently became a target for black market activities. In 1990, German authorities filled the bunker with gravel and concrete, converting the area into a parking facility. Today, these once formidable submarines rest beneath Hamburg's free port. Number 10. Hohlgangsanlage Jersey Tunnels. The Hohlgangsanlage tunnels on Jersey Island represent some of the most extensive fortifications in the occupied Channel Islands. These Jersey tunnels embody a particularly dark chapter in German occupation history. The name literally means hollow passage installation and was exclusively applied to tunnel complexes within the Channel Islands Atlantic Wall system. Construction of Jersey's underground tunnel network began in 1941, initially designed as subterranean shelter for German troops against aerial attacks. Excavated to depths of 50 meters and extending 300 meters into hillsides, these tunnels became part of an ambitious network consuming vast resources. By 1944, Channel Islands construction had extracted 244,000 cubic meters of rock, more than the entire Atlantic Wall from Norway to Spain. Construction was primarily carried out by over 5,000 forced laborers from across Europe: Russians, Poles, French, Spanish Republicans. They worked brutal 12-hour shifts using primitive tools under dangerous conditions. Russian and Ukrainian prisoners suffered particularly, with many dying from exhaustion, disease, and malnutrition. In 1943, with increasing Allied invasion threats, the tunnels were converted into an underground hospital and evacuation center. After liberation in May 1945, the British opened the tunnels to the public in July 1946. In 1961, after transferring to private ownership, the complex became the Jersey War Tunnels Museum, featuring a permanent exhibition called Captive Island that chronicles occupation life. Visitors can explore interactive displays, an original operating theater, military equipment, and the Unfinished Tunnels exhibit, revealing the harsh conditions workers endured. Number 9. Weingut 1, Germany. In Bavaria's forests near Mühldorf am Inn, the Third Reich initiated construction of a unique underground facility codenamed Weingut Ehr in 1944. This massive installation represented a desperate attempt to protect advanced weapons production from Allied bombing. Unlike conventional tunnel bunkers, Weingut I employed an innovative construction method. First, massive gravel embankments were created, upon which 3 meters of reinforced concrete was poured to form giant arches. After concrete hardening, gravel was removed through special extraction tunnels, accelerating construction and eliminating wooden scaffolding requirements. Approximately 10,000 workers labored on site, with 8,500 being forced laborers. Over 3,000 died from overwork, starvation, and SS brutality. Weakened prisoners were often sent to concentration camps. Despite enormous sacrifices, Weingut I remained incomplete when American troops arrived in April 1945. Only 7 of 12 planned arches for a 9-story underground factory producing jet engines for Messerschmitt. Me-262 aircraft were constructed. The facility never became operational. Americans discovered the unfinished installation with construction cranes still in position. In 1947, U.S. military engineers destroyed 6 of the 7 arches. Today, only one arch remains as a memorial to the thousands who perished during construction. Number 8. Blockhaus d'Eperlec. Rising from northern France's forests, the Eperlec's blockhouse stands as one of the Atlantic Wall's most imposing concrete structures. This massive fortress near Saint-Omer was built for a purpose that could have altered the war's trajectory. Beginning in March 1943, this facility was designed as the world's first V-2 rocket assembly, storage, and launch installation. The dimensions reflected ambitious planning: walls up to 5 meters thick, ceilings reaching 28 meters high. Construction required approximately 150,000 cubic meters of concrete. Nazi leadership considered this a crucial site for their retaliation weapons program, targeting London, 180 kilometers away. Allied intelligence discovered the construction, leading to Operation Crossbow and massive bombing campaigns. On August 27, 1943, 187 B-17 bombers dropped 368 tons of explosives on the facility. The bombardment proved effective, damaging the structure beyond repair and forcing Germans to abandon rocket launch plans. Ultimately, no V-2 rockets were ever fired at Britain from this location. The Eperlec's blockhouse today serves as a monument to Nazi military ambition and Allied determination. Recognized as a French historical monument in 1985, visitors can examine rare V-1 and V-2 rocket components and exhibits about concentration camp prisoner labor. The site attracts approximately 50,000 tourists annually, with the northwest wall still bearing bomb damage. Number 7, B8, Bergkristall, Austria. Hidden beneath the Austrian town of St. Georgen under Gusen, the B8 Bergkristall complex was one of the Third Reich's most technologically advanced underground factories. Established in March 1944, it occupied 50,000 square meters of bomb-proof underground tunnels. Bergkristall was designed to assemble revolutionary Me-262 jet fighters. By April 1945, the plant produced approximately 450 fuselages monthly in an attempt to protect critical aircraft production from bombing raids. According to intelligence reports, 987 jet aircraft were assembled at Bergkristall, with fuselages and wings then shipped by rail overnight to southern Germany and Bohemia for final assembly. Secrecy was absolute, but working conditions were inhumane. About 10,000 forced laborers from the Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp toiled in the tunnels, many selected for their technical expertise. For Jewish prisoners, survival was measured in days. Average life expectancy for tunnel workers was 4 months, working 14-hour shifts daily in dusty conditions. Approximately 100 people died daily. On May 5, 1945, the site was liberated by the U.S. 11th Armored Division. The plant was 85% complete and operational. Americans removed equipment and documentation. Later, when the area came under Soviet control, remaining equipment was dismantled and key tunnel sections were destroyed in November 1947. Number 6. Mittelbau-Dora Concentration Camp. Originally a Buchenwald concentration camp branch, Mittelbau-Dora became one of the most deadly underground weapons production facilities. After the Peenemünde Research Center's destruction by bombing on August 17, 1943, the Nazis relocated V-2 rocket production to the Kohnstein Mountains tunnel system near Nordhausen. The underground facility utilized an existing Wehrmacht fuel storage complex that had operated since 1936. Within the mountain's tunnels, prisoners were forced to expand the complex for weapons production. By fall 1944, the facility operated at full capacity with at least 12,000 prisoners producing V-2 ballistic missiles and V-1 cruise missiles. Production increased from 3 defective rockets in January 1944 to 400 monthly by May, and 600 monthly through February 1945. On September 8, 1944, the first V-2 assembled at Mittelbau struck London. Initially, prisoners lived for months directly in the unstable tunnels without daylight or fresh air, crammed together on 4-tiered bunks and sleeping tunnels with appalling sanitary conditions. Mortality rates at Mittelbau concentration camp exceeded most others. Of an estimated 60,000 prisoners who passed through the Mittelbau system, at least 20,000 died. Some prisoners risked their lives through sabotage activities. Over 200 were publicly executed. The facility represented the intersection of Nazi weapons production and systematic murder. Number 5. Battery Todd. Strategically positioned on France's Pas-de-Calais coast, Battery Todd at Cap Gris-Nez was among the Atlantic Wall's most formidable installations. Named for Fritz Todt, a German engineer who died in an aircraft accident, this artillery installation posed a serious threat to Britain. The battery's firepower came from four massive 380mm Krupp guns, each housed in reinforced concrete bunkers with a range of 55 kilometers. These weapons could easily reach English shores. The first shot was fired on January 20th, 1942, with official inauguration occurring in February in the presence of Admirals Dönitz and Raeder. During operational periods, the guns caused 3,059 air raid alarms, killed 216 civilians, and damaged over 10,000 buildings in Dover. Remarkably, despite frequent convoy shelling, no vessels were confirmed sunk by the battery's fire. On September 29, 1944, as part of Operation Undergo, the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division attacked this fortification. At 6:35 a.m., Allied artillery opened fire. 10 minutes later, infantry advanced. The attacks were preceded by Royal Air Force bombardment on September 26th and 28th, dropping 855 tons of bombs. The North Nova Scotia Regiment met minimal resistance, with German artillerymen surrendering by mid-morning. In 1972, after 3 years of restoration, the Atlantic Wall Museum opened in Casemate No. 1, displaying thousands of artifacts including a unique German K5 railway gun, one of only 2 surviving railway guns worldwide, capable of firing 240-kilogram shells nearly 65 kilometers. 4 original casemates remain visible on private property. Casemate No. 3 was partially destroyed by an accidental explosion in 1945. Codenamed Wasserwerk, the massive V1 bunker at Siricourt stands as one of Europe's most intensively bombed German military installations. This colossal structure in northern France was engineered to launch V1 flying bombs against London. Construction commenced in September 1943 on elevated terrain north of the Calais-Saint-Pol road. Germans employed the innovative Deckenbauweise technique, initially constructing the roof at ground level before excavating beneath it. The bunker was designed for bomb protection and railroad connectivity to Saint-Pol-sur-Ternoise, enabling trains carrying V1 missiles to enter directly. The facility was planned to store 150 missiles with launching apparatus aimed at England. By construction's halt in April 1944, the bunker had never fired a single rocket. The exterior was nearly complete, but interior work had barely commenced. Following the war, demolition plans were abandoned. 80 German prisoners of war dismantled the launch ramp and partially backfilled the bunker. Today, the massive concrete structure remains visible from roadways. Though situated on private property and inaccessible to the public, it represents one of northern France's most impressive V-weapon sites. Number 3. La Coupole. Beneath a vast concrete dome in northern France lies a gigantic underground complex, one of Europe's most impressive World War II remnants. La Coupole, located 5 kilometers from Saint-Omer, was constructed by Nazi Germany in 1943 to 1944 as a V-2 rocket launch base targeting London. The facility, initially known as Bauvorhaben 21, Construction Project 21, featured a massive concrete dome measuring 70 meters in diameter and 5 meters thick. This engineering marvel protected a network of tunnels, storage areas, launchers, and personnel quarters. The complex was designed to store 500 V-2 missiles and potentially launch dozens of rockets daily against London and southern England. Originally planned for approximately 2 kilometers of underground passages with an ambitious goal of 7 kilometers, the facility would ensure autonomy with generators, offices, and hospitals. The dome was constructed first, then excavated underneath to protect against bombing raids. Allied intelligence discovered the Weisern's construction in mid-August 1943, when Germans began laying railroad tracks. In subsequent months, the Allies conducted 16 major raids with 811 bombers, dropping some 4,260 tons of explosives. Today, La Coupole operates as an impressive historical center and planetarium attracting worldwide tourists. The museum opened in May 1997, offering exhibitions in 4 languages. Number 2. Project Ries. Located beneath Poland's Owl Mountains, Project Ries conceals one of Hitler's most mysterious and ambitious construction endeavors, undertaken between 1943 and 1945. The Nazi regime excavated an extensive underground tunnel network in what was then German territory, creating a subterranean complex shrouded in mystery to this day. Construction encompassed 7 underground facilities in the Owl Mountains and beneath Xiong Castle, involving the cutting of approximately 9 kilometers of tunnels to create 100,000 cubic meters of underground space. While the project was impressive, only 11% was completed before abandonment. The exact purpose remains disputed, as original documentation appears to have been destroyed. Some theories suggest it was intended as Hitler's headquarters, supported by Nazi officials' memoirs, including Albert Speer's. Others propose the facility was designed for underground armaments production. The project employed thousands of forced laborers, primarily concentration camp prisoners, who worked under brutal conditions. Many died from exhaustion, disease, and execution. The complex network included elaborate ventilation systems, concrete reinforced chambers, and sophisticated engineering designed to withstand heavy bombardment. Today, several tunnel sections remain accessible for exploration, though much of the complex remains sealed or flooded. The site has become a destination for historical tourism and ongoing archaeological investigation, yet many questions about Project Ries's true purpose remain unanswered. Number 1. The Führerbunker. Located beneath the Reich Chancellery Garden in Berlin, the Führerbunker served as Adolf Hitler's final headquarters. Unlike other bunkers designed for military operations, this underground complex witnessed the Third Reich's final act. Hitler retreated to the bunker on January 16, 1945, as Soviet forces approached Berlin. As conditions deteriorated, he rarely emerged, making his final public appearance on April 20th, his 56th birthday, to honor Hitler Youth members. In the claustrophobic environment, Hitler became increasingly paranoid, especially after learning of Himmler's surrender negotiations with Western allies. On April 29th, shortly after midnight, Hitler married Eva Braun in a small ceremony in the bunker's map room, after which he dictated his will to Secretary Traudl Junge. The following day, April 30th, Hitler and Braun committed suicide according to his instructions. Their bodies were taken to the Chancellery Garden, doused with gasoline, and burned. The complex, constructed in 2 phases, consisted of the upper Vorbunker and the deeper Führerbunker, located approximately 8.5 meters below ground. It featured walls 4 meters thick and a roof 3 meters high, containing about 30 small rooms. Living conditions were harsh, with constant dampness, running pumps for drainage, electricity from a diesel generator, and water from a well. The bunker's ventilation system included gas filters and air conditioning, though the environment remained oppressive. Communications equipment connected the facility to military commands across the Reich, though by April 1945, these connections were increasingly unreliable as German forces collapsed. Following Hitler's death, remaining bunker occupants attempted to escape Berlin. Soviet forces discovered the bunker in early May 1945, finding evidence of the suicides and the final days of Nazi leadership. The bunker was subsequently sealed and later demolished by East German authorities. Today, the site is marked only by a simple information board in a parking lot, as the German government deliberately chose not to create a memorial that might become a pilgrimage site for Nazi sympathizers. The location serves as a stark reminder of the Third Reich's final collapse and the end of one of history's darkest chapters. Conclusion: these 15 Nazi bunkers represent more than mere military installations. They stand as concrete testimonies to human ambition, suffering, and the ultimate failure of totalitarian regimes. From the massive fortifications of the Atlantic Wall to the underground factories powered by slave labor, each site tells a story of technological innovation, twisted to serve destructive purposes. The preservation of these sites serves multiple purposes. They function as museums educating future generations about the horrors of war and fascism, as memorials honoring those who suffered and died during their construction, and as stark reminders of humanity's capacity for both remarkable engineering and unspeakable cruelty. While controversy surrounds some preservation efforts, the historical value of these discoveries cannot be disputed. They provide tangible connections to one of history's most significant periods, offering insights into Nazi military strategy, engineering capabilities, and the human cost of totalitarian ambition. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's hidden chapters. If you found this exploration valuable, please show your support by engaging with our content. Subscribe to stay informed about future historical discoveries and remain connected to these important stories from our past. Click the notification bell to ensure you don't miss our upcoming releases as we continue uncovering history's buried secrets. These underground monuments remind us that the past, however deeply buried, eventually emerges to teach us crucial lessons about human nature, the price of freedom, and the importance of preserving historical truth for future generations.